Yo, King Marco in the building. Here to give y'all boys some game. Well, I guess it's time for Russell Westbrook to go. What do you say? Everybody wants to put the blame on Westbrook on why the Lakers are struggling. Okay, yeah, and he's kind of struggling. I can't argue that. But I can't put all the blame on Russell Westbrook. Okay. I don't think he fits in. I've been said the Lakers ain't going to the playoffs. They just not gonna go this year. And it's very evident. It ain't just Russell Westbrook as to why they struggling. Okay. The Lakers are struggling because they can't play no D. Bottom line. And secondly, to be honest with you, nobody really fears the Lakers. They look at LeBron and say, "Yeah, LeBron, that dude, he's still that dude." But that rest of the team, that we can get over on them. LeBron should not be playing center. I'm sorry. He creates a disadvantage on offense, but he's too much of a liability on defense. Okay, they can't block no shots. Okay, they don't have no rim protector out there. They ain't got nobody out there that's a hard nosed defender on that team. Most of the good teams got some hard nosed defender on their squad, and I don't know who the Lakers have for their hard nosed defender. Golden State got Draymond Green, Kevon Looney. They got guys that play defense. Okay, Andrew Wiggins plays defense. Milwaukee, that whole team loaded with defense. Okay. Okay, the good teams in the NBA got some defenders on that team. Philadelphia, same thing. You got Embiid out there. What I'm saying? You got all kind of defense out there. Lakers ain't got no defense. Point guards basically had a way with them. What I'm saying? Bottom line, the Aaron Fox went off on them last night. Hell, even they backup damn near had 20 points today. Okay, I just don't see it. I don't see it with the Lakers, and this ain't all Russell Westbrook's fault. I'm sorry, you can't blame this all on Westbrook. Personally, they gave up too much for Westbrook. That's what you blame. You blame the management. The management of the Lakers is the reason why they losing. They ain't put together this team right at all. Malik Monk is all right. He cool, but he's a liability on defense too. You know what I'm saying? So they give up just as much as they get. You know what I'm saying? And to me, the way I look at the Lakers right now is similar to Michael Jordan and the Wizards. That's how I see it. These are the Wizard years for LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? LeBron just looks better than Michael Jordan did when he in his later years. But overall, this is the Washington Wizards. They ain't going to no playoffs. Not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Playoffs. Mm-mm. Even if they get AD back, they ain't going to the playoffs. AD, they was struggling with before AD got there. Before AD got hurt. Okay, and AD ain't gonna make much of a difference. He don't want to play five. Howard and DeAndre Jordan, they're borderline right now. Okay, that's what it is. They're borderline useless. They can't win no. They can't get to the playoffs with these guys, and they too old. That's another problem for the Lakers. They too old. These guys running them out the gym, straight running them. They have a point guard that can score. Man, they losing. John Morant, he do his thing on them. Shit, Lonzo did his thing on them. Everybody doing their thing on them. James Harden playing the point, he did his thing on them when they played on Christmas. Yeah, it's just Lakers ain't got no D. Bottom line, that's the problem. Okay, And they gave away too many good players. Okay, for two guys. You gave away KCP, Kuzma, Montrez, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, 3 first-round picks for Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis. That's what's pretty much been done. And you let go of Caruso. Just imagine that. You let go of Caruso in free agency. You let go of Lonzo Ball, you let go of Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Josh Hart, 3 first-round picks, and in return you got Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. That's horrible. That's a horrible deal. That is so horrible right there. Okay? Just look at that. That's horrible, man. Okay, it really is. We can't be doing that shit. That's why the Lakers is struggling. You gave too much real estate for them, for two guys. Okay? LeBron is at fault for this. I'm gonna have to say this. He's at fault for all of this. Okay, he was thinking more of clutch sports than the Lakers. Okay, he kept all those clutch sport clients on the Lakers team and gave away quality players in the process. And then everybody said it was their fault. Okay, everybody blamed 2 years ago. They was blaming Kuzma, Ingram, and Lonzo, and all those guys being so young. Okay, that was the reason why. That was 3 years ago. Then the following year, it was all Kuzma's fault, but they won a championship. Okay, so nobody took no blame, but they was blaming Kuzma. Then the third year, they was blaming Kuzma. Shannon Sharp was blaming Kuzma for all their wrongdoings, even though he was being froze out. Nobody wants to talk about that, but Kuzma was being froze out in L.A. and but he still took the blame. Now this year, it's Westbrook's fault. I'm sorry, this is LeBron's fault. He built this team. He signed off on all this shit. Okay, he signed off on Westbrook. Okay, so if Westbrook's struggling and Westbrook ain't doing nothing and he's messing up, okay, that's still LeBron's fault. He brought him in here. I'm gonna say we got to blame LeBron for this. If they don't get to the playoffs, it's LeBron's fault. I understand LeBron balling, but that don't really mean nothing right now. Okay, that don't really mean nothing. You franchise, you supposed to be balling. You brought in Anthony Davis, who's hurt all the time. You know, he's hurt all the time. That is LeBron's fault. LeBron signed off on AD getting $200 million. They gave this boy $200 million, and now they saying he ain't even a top 15 player. $200 million for a guy who ain't even a top 15 player. That's why the Lakers ain't going to the playoffs. LeBron might not ever stiff conference finals again to break this shit going. They want to get lucky. And they can't get lucky because they don't have no draft picks. Even if they don't get to the playoffs, they ain't getting no first round pick. That goes to New Orleans. It's just not gonna happen. I see dark days for the Lakers. The Lakers, this how bad the Lakers are. The Clippers haven't had Kawhi Leonard and PG together all season. PG's gone is gone for the rest of the season. Kawhi hasn't played one game. And the Lakers barely got a better record than them. They might not even have a better record than the Clippers. Okay, but it shouldn't even be at that level. The Clipper, I still don't know who the better team is. That's how bad the Lakers are right now. Okay. They shouldn't even be sniffing the playoffs right now. The West ain't even that competitive this year. The West ain't really dominant like they used to be. The Eastern Conference is better than the West right now. This is LeBron's fault. I blame LeBron for this. Okay. LeBron built this team. He signed off on everything. You can't just sit there and build a house, and when it burned down, you blame Home Depot. No, you gotta blame the person that built the house. That's why this motherfucker went down. Okay. Bottom line, this is LeBron's fault. He got all them clutch sport players on that team, and that's the reason why they failed. Okay, and they too old. Okay, the NBA is young. Okay, guys is coming out at 20 years of age now. Okay, you got a team, you got a bunch of teams that got young guys, and hell, some teams want to get younger. Average age be 24 years of age on the team, and the team want to get younger. Okay, and they get ran out the gym. That's all they saying basically. Hey, get with LeBron at the 5. They basically saying, hey, get their defensive rebound and run. That's what we gonna do, because you got Carmelo out there, you got you got Avery Bradley out there who's kind of old. You got LeBron who's 37. Then you got Westbrook who's kind of old himself. He got a lot of wear and tear on his body. He kind of old. It's just a mixture of everything. They just old, man. They old and they slow. They ain't got no playmakers. Westbrook is supposed to be a playmaker, but he makes mistakes. But the sad part about it, this is another reason why I don't blame Westbrook, and is that the Lakers knew exactly who they were getting into. That's basically what this is. You knew Westbrook's MO. It wasn't like Westbrook was different from last year to this year. He playing the same way he been playing his whole career, pretty much. Okay, there ain't nothing different about Westbrook. You should have known that Westbrook and LeBron might not fit. You got one of the I wouldn't necessarily say that he's the lowest IQ player, but Westbrook's IQ as far as a basketball player is kind of low. And you got a guy who has the highest basketball IQ, okay, in the game. That's not gonna work. Okay, you need another guy whose IQ, he might not be as good as LeBron, but his IQ is in the game of basketball is right there with him. You can't have Russell Westbrook as a guy. You will piss LeBron off. Okay, you gonna piss a guy like him off because he sees a guy who plays basketball at a high IQ. He has zero tolerance for stupid playing basketball. Okay, it just drives him crazy. I know Westbrook is driving him crazy. Those turnovers that's really self-inflicted. Okay, a lot of those turnovers that he creates is self-inflicted. Okay, I wouldn't even necessarily say it because of great defense. He just loses the ball in midair. He goes up in the air and just loses the ball. But this is what Westbrook been doing his whole career. This ain't nothing new. They signed off on it. And then another thing is Westbrook is probably the worst shooter LeBron has had at the point guard position since Eric Snow. I would say that he's the worst shooter that I've seen LeBron with since Eric Snow. Okay. Most of the point guards that he's played with could somewhat shoot the three. Okay, he's the worst. Russell Westbrook's confidence as far as the jump shooter is gone. He got some sort of mental block going on with that jump shot. He can't make a jump shot to save his life. This shit ain't gonna work. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Don't see it at all. Lakers ain't going to no motherfucking playoffs. Not gonna happen. Okay. If so, tell me how they gonna go. Okay. How they gonna go? They can't play no D. They're getting ran out the building. And teams, they ain't scared of the Lakers. They actually want to see the Lakers. They treating the Lakers like they treat the New York Knicks now. They want to go in there and put up a hell of a performance in the Staples Center. They looking forward to that. They got that motherfucker circle and saying, "Hey, I'm about to go put on I'm gonna put on a show tonight." That's how they looking at the Lakers now. They ain't looking at the Lakers like, man, I don't know. Well, we got to pencil this motherfucker in as a loss. This is a loss. No, they ain't looking at that shit at all like that. They looking at it like, yeah, I can't wait to get to LA. I'm about to ball out there. Chicago Bulls went to LA and stomped them. Man, if LeBron would have been out there, they'd have stomped him right in front of LeBron. Straight up. They'd have stomped him. It wouldn't have mattered even if LeBron was out there. They'd have gave him a beating. Okay? They couldn't even beat the Clippers. I don't even think they played Paul George when they played the Clippers. They couldn't even beat them. And they lost to Sacramento last night. And that's retarded. You let the Sacramento Kings, who has a losing record, got a worse record than them, get them tough games. I think they beat them twice. They didn't beat the Lakers twice. Okay? Just think about that. They didn't beat the Lakers twice. And then the game that they won, they barely won that bitch. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you right now, no playoffs for the Lakers. This is about to be a disaster. They should be talking about how much of a disaster this is. They should be talking about how they gave up too much for Anthony Davis. Straight up. That's what they should be talking about. They should be talking about Westbrook at all. They should be talking about how much that they got robbed by the New Orleans Pelicans with that Davis deal. You gave up an all-star player with a borderline all-star player and a good role player and 3 first-round picks. And for a guy who can't stay healthy. That's what they should be talking about. They should be talking about how they gave up Trez Kuzma, who's balling right now. Kuzma is balling in Washington. I don't know if y'all been watching this shit. That boy, I remember one game he had like 22 points and 27 rebounds or some shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? How many times the Lakers gonna keep giving up all these quality ass players and they get nothing in return? You know how many quality players that has came and went within the last 7 years for the Lakers? Man, can you imagine? Imagine you got Julius Randle, you have Brook Lopez, you have Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Jordan Clarkson. Man, that team right there could be in the playoffs. They have a better record right now than the Lakers. They just left that team alone. Never got LeBron. They would have fucked around and still be in better position right now than what they are. Bottom line, that is fact. That team right there could get to the playoffs. They'd have just left that team alone. They should have left that. They should have never made that deal. They should have said, "Hey, AD, you coming in 2020. We can't get you in 2019, bro. We can't give up all our pieces. We got to keep some of these pieces right here. You know what I'm saying? And you want to come in 2020, bro. I'm sorry. That's as far as I can go. I can't go no further than that. They gave up way too much for that. Way too much. Okay. The Lakers is downhill. They ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. They ain't getting to no playoffs. This is going to be the Steph Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo era. They moving on to Giannis now. Okay, that's what I'm seeing. They going to Giannis. They going to Giannis, Steph Curry, KD. They moving off of LeBron right now. That's who. Those are the faces of the NBA now. Then LeBron James era can be done with that right now. That's in the NBA's eyes. They're trying to move on. They have to because it's 37 right now. They have to move on and find a new face, a younger face that's going to carry on the torch for the NBA for the next 10 years. Okay, so yeah, I can see this. LeBron, but I blame this on LeBron. LeBron shouldn't have made all the moves. Clutch Sports is the reason why they're failing. You know, signing THT to $30 million, that's retarded. Okay, and that's all a political move right there. All that is political. Getting THT, that's retarded. Giving him that kind of money. He brings no value to that team like that. He can score some points, but in the end, he can't play no D. He's 6'2", guarding people like Kevin Durant and James Harden. He can't do nothing with them. He can't do nothing with those guys. THT poses no threat to a James Harden / Kevin Durant / Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, man, they're gonna pick and switch him, and he's gonna be a liability, man. They can't use him. And signing him to all that damn money, that's retarded. I would have signed Caruso before I signed THT. At least Caruso is a better defender. Okay, he might not be a better offensive player, but at least he brings defense to the table. This ain't nothing. Lakers ain't gonna do nothing. Lakers made too many bad business moves. And they done mortgaged their team twice in 4 years. You can't mortgage your team twice in 4 years and expect success. I don't care who you got as your star player. LeBron James couldn't do nothing with this team, even if he was 10 years younger. Not this team. Team is too much of a liability on defense. They got LeBron playing the 5. That's retarded. He can't play the 5. They just gonna go big on him like Sacramento did. Sacramento went big on him and said, we're going to go down low. We're going to get some baskets. We're going to get whatever we want to get. LeBron out here guarding centers now. That ain't no recipe for success, y'all. Lakers ain't doing nothing. Lakers ain't going nowhere. No playoffs for them. Okay, and I don't even know if they're going to the playoffs next year because they're going to trade Westbrook. And at this point right now, his value is so low. Okay, they done lowered his value, by putting all the blame on him. Okay, see, if the Lakers were smart, they would put the blame on somewhere else other than Westbrook. But they didn't allow the media to put the blame on Westbrook. Okay, so now when it comes time to trading, what kind of player are you really going to get for him? Nobody's going to want that $40 billion contract. This dude is due $100 billion in the next 2 years. Ain't nobody want that. Who the fuck wants that contract? And you ain't gonna get no quality player for that. Nobody's gonna trade for that. Lakers are stuck with it. That's another reason why I wouldn't have made that deal. You stuck with a guy who's getting $100 billion in the next 2 years, and he's not gonna make your team any better. That's why I wouldn't have made that deal. I wouldn't have traded for no Trez, KCP. Those 3 quality players in Trez and Kuzma. The Wizards got over on them again. Okay, then the Wizards got over them and the Pelicans then got over them. Traded Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, KCP, all this, 3 first-round picks for Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. It's retarded. That's why they losing. And then with these big ass contracts, now you can't even. The Lakers is poor. You know what I'm saying? People sit there and act like the Lakers is this old high society team. They're poor. Them niggas ain't spending no bread like that. They not doing what the Nets is doing. They ain't doing what the Golden State is doing. They ain't doing what the Bulls and shit is doing. These motherfuckers will never go into the luxury tax. Well, fuck out of here. Lakers ain't doing nothing. They poor, man. Super poor compared to all the other big time teams. Okay, they going to the bottom of the barrel. They need motherfuckers to sign the minimum contract. They need motherfuckers to sign for $1 million to go play with them. Motherfuckers gonna stop doing that shit once they realize that, hey, playing with LeBron ain't gonna get you to no championship. Ain't nobody gonna be signing. Ain't no quality player like Carmelo Anthony gonna sign for the minimum. They not about to do that. They're gonna find some other place to go that they feel can win. They'll go to Brooklyn. They'll go to Chicago. They'll go to Miami. They'll go anywhere. They'll go to Golden State. You know, they'll go anywhere. They won't go to the Lakers. Lakers ain't getting that no more. No playoffs for them. Got too many bad decisions. Next up, it's going after Russell Westbrook gone. Then they're gonna start blaming Rob Pelinka and all them. They should get the blame now, personally. It's not Russell Westbrook is taking the blame for Rob Pelinka and all them fools in the management. They retarded. They should have never let LeBron run them like that. They should have told LeBron, "No, I'm not bringing in all these clutch sport players, man. I ain't bringing all these clients up in here, man. I got to make my team good. I'm not mortgaging my team for Anthony Davis, bro." I said, "They asking way too much for me. Bro. You better go talk to them motherfuckers and go tell them to lower that price on that trade. I'm not trading all my pieces for Anthony Davis just so you can get him a better deal for your client because he's your client. I'm not doing that." That's what the Lakers should have did. They sat there and bowed down to LeBron too much, and that's why Pat Riley wouldn't have did this shit. He would have told LeBron, "Hey, I'm not mortgaging my team for that. Just so you can get your client here. That ain't guaranteeing me no championship. You had one good year with AD, now the first year, and you barely had that. If it wasn't for wasn't for the pandemic and everything, shit, AD probably would have went down then too. Bad deals. Team is too old. Team can't play no D. Okay. LeBron playing 5. Those are the reasons why the Lakers is losing. Don't blame Russell Westbrook for this shit. Okay, he takes some blame for it, but you know what I'm saying? The Lakers had problems before he got there. They got put out the first round last year. Okay, let's be real. They got put out the first round. AD being down again. You know what I'm saying? This nigga spent his whole career being down. And that's what they mortgage their team for. I can see if you mortgage that motherfucker for Shaq or something. You mortgage that motherfucker for Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? KD or something. I see if you mortgage your team for that. You mortgage your team for a nigga who don't even play 60 games a year. That's all he plays, 60 games a year. And ain't never did nothing on his own in the playoffs. Okay? You ain't shit if you ain't did nothing on your own in the playoffs. I'm sorry. And you had some decent players with him in New Orleans. They made this dude a top 5 player. Talking about he better than James Harden. Shit. James Harden had KD and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson in his motherfucking way. If it wasn't for that shit, his ass be in the finals every year. And he ain't had no great team. AD had some teams, then had some basic ass teams, just like James Harden, and did nothing with it. I'm not mortgaging my team for that. That's retarded. That is retarded. Okay? So Rob Pelinka, LeBron James, them being old, them being LeBron playing the 5, them not being able to play no defense. I blame all that shit before we go to Russell Westbrook, bro. Okay, I want Russell Westbrook to get out of there. He should have vetoed that trade, saying that, "No, I ain't going to LA." Okay, because if we lose, I want to take the blame for this. He should have saw that coming. That's his only mistake. It was like he should have saw that coming. He's like, "Shit, they're gonna blame me." Because every time that LeBron lose, it's gonna be somebody to blame for this shit, and if we lose, it's gonna be B. That was his mistake. Okay, he should have saw through that shit. But overall, I want y'all boys to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell when I get on this show now. I need y'all to do that for me. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for a player. I greatly appreciate that shit. It's your boy, King Marco. I'm signing out this motherfucker. Holla at your boy.